And we are back, and we just finished watching 2023's The Flash, rated PG-13 with a runtime of 2 hours and 24 minutes. I believe this is still playing in theaters, but you can rent it on Prime. I didn't hate this.
No, I thought this was I would say this is actually a good superhero movie.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. I think I liked it more than Black Adam.
Yeah, maybe a little. Yeah.
And even though it was really long,
it was long, but it never dragged.
It didn't drag. Yeah, no. I was going to say, I didn't hate this. I'm really surprised this film didn't do better.
Yeah, I get the feeling that its failure wasn't really the film's fault, but more all the nonsense and surrounding prejudgment that's swarming around it.
So the estimated budget on this film is $200 million, and the gross worldwide on this is $268,478,637.
So it barely made anything, but that's not
the...
You have to make double because
you have to make double,
advertising.
Right, because usually it's budget and the budget times 2 for the marketing. And sometimes the marketing is more expensive than the movies. Yeah. Was this properly marketed?
I feel like they marketed the hell out of this, yeah.
Did they? I can't remember now.
And the budget doesn't even include Ezra Miller's legal fees.
Yeah, this didn't come out that long ago. It came out in June. The opening box office was only $55 million.
Yeah, I remember they were hoping for like 70,
yeah.
And then that just did not happen. And then I think the following week it like really dropped.
Yeah. So let's talk about it. We'll talk about the film in a second, but why do you think this tanked so tremendously?
Like I said, based upon what I saw, this was a good superhero movie, especially considering it's a Warner Brothers DC venture.
Sure.
And they haven't really been
a good track record.
Great as far as their cinematic universe. They really want to be Marvel. And Marvel just did a way better job from the beginning. And they tried to like jump the gun by making like the big crossover movie in the beginning and making things a little bit more dour and serious and just completely forgetting that comics are supposed to be fun. And somehow they managed to piss off their fan base. Like DC diehards, well, you're never really going to make a comic book fan, like a real comic book fan, completely happy with what they see on the screen, because a lot of people just don't understand. You cannot be slavishly loyal to the comic. You're in a completely different medium. You're dealing with completely different things, especially with like a cinematic universe where not only you're dealing with the medium of film, you're dealing with time.
Right.
I mean, actors age, things happen. You're also dealing with the real world and writer strikes, things that the actors may have said or done in real life that puts some sort of kibosh on just promoting the film, or the audience's general feelings about the film, because, I met so-and-so at a bar once and he was a dick to me. Or in this case, I was in an office and he punched his way through.
Oh my God. I'm still terrorized by that video. I listen, obviously this guy,
he needs some medication. He needs a lot of medication. And they... Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
They need a lot of help. And kudos to the Warner Brothers brass for keeping him locked in a room somewhere, because prior to this film, for many, many months, he was not news fodder.
Yeah. Well, I think Michael Keaton did all the promotion for this movie. So, but I mean, that's just part of what I was talking about. I don't know if that tainted people. I think
to some degree, yes.
That did to some degree, but also you have the fact that, you're going to piss off comic book fans because they're basing it upon a Flash story, and it may not be exactly to the T what was done in the comic books, or maybe there's 3 different Flashes and this is the wrong Flash. I don't know what's going on.
And what happened to Henry Cavill?
I've never been a major Flash
devotee.
So this seemed fine to me.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, I'm sure they took liberties with the original source material. Then you got the whole thing of what happened with, they got rid of Henry Cavill, and they got rid of Zack Snyder, and they brought in Sean Gunn, and Sean Gunn is, and all of this like James Gunn. You know Sean Gunn will be in there.
I know, I was going to say, I'm sure he'll have a part in something.
But you have all of that and all this like absolutely political nonsense that has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah.
I mean, all the people grumbling about, if Zack Snyder had his way, everything would have been just completely awesome. And yeah, he had his chance and it didn't work out. You didn't show up, and now after the fact, you're like, get the Snyder cut and it'll be a big success again. Okay, here's your Snyder cut. Is it a success again? No. It's 4 hours. You watched it. Nobody else did because it's 4 goddamn hours.
Right.
And then you got The Rock coming in there saying, Henry Cavill's going to be the Superman. Black Adam's going to be a major part. And then that movie tanks horribly. It's like nobody's happy. Yeah. As far as Warner Brothers DC, it seems like there is just a stink around that whole franchise, and I don't know what is going to clear the air. It seemed like there was hope when the first Wonder Woman came out,
which was excellent,
which was really good, and Aquaman actually wasn't that bad.
The first Shazam was excellent.
The first Shazam was great, and you think, things are being good, and then they just dump Wonder Woman 84, which was an absolute turd of a movie. I don't know what's going on, if they're even keeping Aquaman. The second Shazam I thought was good too.
It was all right.
And that also another cloud of controversy with the actor said it was better than John Wick 4 and all this other. He said it was a better family film. Yeah, it was a better family film. And if you don't think it's a better family film, maybe you need medication because John Wick 4 is not a family movie.
And I gotta be honest, as much as I love Keanu Reeves,
too goddamn long.
It was too goddamn long. It was repetitious.
Right, we're getting.
I would rather watch the second Shazam again before I watched Wick 4 again. That's all I'm saying.
So the WDC, they just have this sort of stink around them, and now you're like, the Suicide Squad, not Suicide Squad, which of course all the angry fanboy nerds are getting. We got to get the David Ayer cut.
Leave that alone.
Just leave it alone. The first Suicide Squad was not a good movie, and
deal with it.
Guess what? It showed. The Suicide Squad was excellent, and you're like, it didn't make a lot of money. Yeah, it was on streaming.
Right.
Did it ever have a theatrical release?
I think it had a very limited one.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay. So that's the other thing, and you and I had this conversation about.
Peacemaker was great.
Peacemaker was awesome. God, it's too bad because I feel like, in some respect, the studios really don't appreciate. I mean, if this writer's strike is any indication of how the C-suite sees, I guess, the riffraff under them, be it the talent or the people behind the cameras or the writers, it just seems very uneven. And it historically, when Suits have gotten their hot little hands on certain properties, they ruin them.
Yeah.
A classic example is Iron Man 2.
Iron Man 2 was probably
shite.
Yeah, it was not really that good because it was rushed.
And there was a lot of studio interference.
I got to be honest. I don't. The problem with Iron Man 2 is that it was rushed. Mm-hmm. I mean, from everything I read, everybody was like, "We need more time. We need more time." And it was just like, no, we need this for financial reasons. Mm. Like, seriously, the creativity took a back seat to the financial. And
it showed.
It really showed. And as far as DC Warner Brothers go, to me, it has always really felt that way. Outside of, like, the Batman movies, which are their own complete separate entity.
Right. And I feel like Batman movies make money no matter what.
Yeah, and the proof of that their own separate entity is that the executives at WB are just like, no, this will never be connected to
the DC
this cinematic universe stuff. Mm-hmm. So the Robert Pattinson, the Christian Bale, all of that stuff is
separate.
Didn't even appear. None of that appeared in this movie, and they paid homage to every iteration of the characters. They had freaking Adam West in there.
They had what was the first one?
George Reeves. Yeah,
right, the original
Superman. Yeah,
and even old Flash.
Yeah, the guy from the TV show.
Yeah. I was waiting for Sam Jones from Flash Gordon. Oh, this is a different character. Oh, never mind. Sorry. You know what? Because it's on our list to watch.
What are you
so
talking
I'm
about?
like,
you should
Flash.
be ashamed.
I know. I should.
Shame. Shame. Dong.
Much
shame.
like you, I'm not a big Flash purveyor. So,
but
and I'm plus. Like I said, I'm super excited about watching Flash Gordon.
Yeah. It really feels like from the get-go, Warner Brothers DC has always been more about, well, this needs to do well financially. We don't really care about the right. It's a comic book movie, whatever.
That's always been
It's for children. Children are stupid and don't care about story and character development and heartfelt moments or anything like that. Not realizing that, okay, it's not the freaking 70s and 80s anymore. They're not little kids anymore. You're dealing with like 30, 40, 50-year-old people now, and they appreciate they're going to see. They're not going to see these movies because it's just, I just want to take my kids. I had to go see Guardians of the Galaxy, or I had to go see Avengers because my kid dragged me there.
Yeah.
They are there in costume.
Right.
And it took a while for, I think, Warner Brothers to like figure that out, and they still haven't really done that good a job. And it really remains to be seen if this whole, now James Gunn is in charge.
Right. Do you think that they will give Gunn free reign, or?
I think he's going to have free reign for like the first few things that he does. So maybe the Superman movie.
Which he's writing
he's writing and directing the Superman movie. But I gotta be honest, I don't have hope for any of this. I think the time of superhero movies is sunsetting. I think people are getting burnt out because even Disney Marvel has been just drowning us in stuff. And the problem is you could have either quality or you could have quantity.
Right.
And we are drowning in it. It's a new show, a new movie, and since Endgame, I'm going to be honest, their stuff has been mostly mediocre. There is very little truly great superhero content that has come out since Endgame.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean
I've enjoyed some of the TV shows.
Some of the TV shows are okay. Some of them, I've gotten to the point where Secret Invasion came out, and I'm kind of scared.
I heard bad stuff about
I don't want to hear anything.
Sorry.
I'm kind of scared that it's going to be the thing that just pushes me over to the side of, I just don't need to watch this stuff anymore. Because I love this stuff.
Yeah.
And come on, you're just drowning us in it, and you're starting not to care about the story. You're killing your VFX departments.
Yeah.
The computer graphics guys, they're basically just drowning, and all the little changes. There's so many films coming out, and so many of them require just massive CG scenes that these people can't keep up, and it shows in this movie.
I was going to say, I'm glad you brought that up, because if I had one complaint about this film, it was how piss poor the effects were in it.
Piss poor is harsh. They were not up to snuff.
Okay, fair enough.
They really were not up to snuff. Like, I saw a comparison of the baby scene in this movie and the jailbreak scene from Days of Future Past, which was 10 years ago or something.
And still looks amazing.
It looks so much better. I mean, granted, you're not dealing with a bunch of CG babies floating through the air. But even then, the babies, they're all soft and they look like beanbags. They don't really look like babies.
Yeah.
They had like those weird baby faces that look sort of like the kid from the last Twilight movie. Where it's like there's like weird shadows on the baby's face.
We're going to have to review that
smiling.
at one point. I mean, we reference it. And it's funny because we have never... have we sat through it? No. We always fast
We've
forward
never
to the
watched any of the movies in their entirety, but for some reason, that scene, anytime we pass by the final Twilight movie, it's that scene is usually within 15, 20 minutes. So we will be like, let's just stick around so we can watch that freaking snow fight scene of theirs. And it never disappoints to amuse the hell out of us, especially God bless Michael Sheen. God bless that man for making such a kooky performance. Oh, it is. He is beloved.
Seriously, give him his flowers. So getting back to this film, because we've veered on a complete U-turn here. I gotta say I didn't hate it. I mean, but again, my only complaint was that the effects didn't look like it belonged to a Warner Brothers. This is a film company that's been around since the dawn of cinema, and yet and we have seen so much better as far as CG.
Yeah, this clearly shows you are overloading these people.
Yeah,
stop thinking that you got to churn out tons of CG movies every year. This isn't just for superhero movies. This is for everything.
Everything, yeah. I mean,
just lower the content and increase the quality.
Yes, agreed.
Give the writers tons of time to like iron out all this stuff, and the CG guys give them the time to really make things look good. I mean, that end where they show all the cameos.
Yeah.
It's like, God. Yeah. It's like, okay, there's Nick Cage, kinda. He's
and
freaky looking Nick Cage and
Christopher Reeve
and Helen Slater looked terrible. They gave her model to an intern.
Yeah.
That was like, I don't know what the hell that was. You could do better with like, I've seen people do better on their computer by themselves.
Yeah.
It's
unfortunate. I mean, I think that so again, that was my only sort of dig at this film. Otherwise, I thought the story was pretty solid. I thought the performances were really good. Unfortunately, Ezra Miller has I kind of like what you said, like this tainted history surrounding them. Yeah. So it's unfortunate because I think for sure that had something to do hurting the box office. Yeah. You don't have your lead person promoting your film.
Yeah. He's like, in the film, he's like this like weird, quirky guy, but he has charm.
Yeah.
He's
very likable.
You could see that guy being able to promote the film going out, but apparently not. Apparently he's just...
And I think I saw one video of him, possibly like the first time it premiered in California or wherever. And I mean, I could be talking out of my ass. I don't know. It felt like he was sedated. Like he didn't seem like he was whatever.
I don't know, either sedated or just not happy with the situation. And that's completely understandable. Yeah, this film had a lot of baggage on it. Not only him, but like I said, you just have that. The WBDC stuff, it just has like a taint on it now.
Yeah.
And especially because you just can't make anybody happy on the internet, especially with WBDC movies.
Yeah.
It's like, come on. Give the creative people a break. I understand. Okay, be pissed at the studios for doing the stuff that they're doing, but you're coming at the directors, the actors, everybody. Give those people a break. And if you really like this stuff, go see it.
Yeah. Do you think this movie will do better in streaming and in, like, I guess, the buy rent arena? Only because sometimes those are the things that save a movie. Like, we went to see Pacific Rim in the theater, but that movie didn't do well at the box office. But it got kind of second life through sales and rentals. And then they did a sequel, which I never saw it with our guy, John Boyega. But I never saw the sequel, but I don't think that did well.
No, I heard that was awful.
Yeah. And so do you think that time and space will give this property sort of like a second life?
Maybe. I mean, we didn't like feel we needed to go see it in the theater.
We
saw it because
wanted to see this in the theater because I was curious, but I think afterwards, I don't know. I guess I was like, well, I could just wait for it to hit streaming, or we'll just rent it.
I think that's another thing, that just when you see that something didn't do well and you see people complaining about it, it robs that of enthusiasm. Like before it came out, there was a huge upswell of enthusiasm, especially when you saw the trailers.
Right, which were really good.
The trailers were actually really good.
Yeah.
But then, it missed its mark and whatever, and it's 2.5 hours long and all this other stuff. It's a DC movie. It's the James Gunn is destroying everything.
He had nothing to do with this freaking movie, and he got appointed. I think this movie was already in the can by the time he got appointed.
Yeah, this one was done by the time, and he cheerleaded the hell out of it.
He did, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so getting back to this film, let's talk about it. So, I mean, do we say spoilers because I guess it's still playing in some theaters?
Yeah, I mean, it's a new film, so I don't want to give
too much
of it away, like the big, I guess, reveals at the end. All
right, well,
the cameos are. I didn't mind mentioning them because
they're on IMDb.
Yeah, I mean, everything is there. Everybody has said all the little appearances of all the actors, or did they actually appear in the movie? Like, how does that? How does it apply when it's clearly just a CG? Because seriously, Nicolas Cage, I don't think he showed up and was just like, all right, just film my head.
Yeah. Is this the thing that the actors are fighting against? It's like
maybe. I mean,
well,
I'm sure they got.
I'm not going to give you a check because it was AI. Nick Cage.
Yeah.
Not
I'm sure they gave everybody who appeared in it or their estates some kind of compensation.
Sure. Okay, without giving too much of it away, this is a superhero story, and if you are familiar with the supers, there's always some kind of tragic backstory associated with supers, and this film is no exception. There's some really, really great performances here. I was super impressed with Ezra Miller. I can't lie.
Yeah.
And if you've seen the trailer, you know that there are more than one in this film. They
did a good job with that too. They always look like they were in the same room. And, I mean, they've come a long way with whatever the hell that technology is.
Is that deep fake? I mean,
I don't know. Yeah. Probably just the way it was cut and the way they edited it, and plus, I mean, you could do anything with freaking After Effects or whatever.
True.
But it looked really good.
But on top of that, I agree with you. But on top of that, it felt like the two Barrys were very different. So
they were similar but different because they had different upbringings
and they had different personalities. Yeah. They looked a tad bit different physically.
Well, one was supposed to be younger,
but still, I mean, still physically different. And I was super impressed with his performance. There was something almost sad about it. I guess that mantle of tragedy that propels that individual into being the super, right? He also, I don't know if people know about how Flash becomes the Flash, but
I mean, that's not really a big secret. It's like he gets hit by lightning. Yeah. Lightning and chemicals. Scientific accident.
Yes.
Another classic
super
ways of becoming a superhero.
I was going to say another super that
it's a miracle that more children
aren't super.
Didn't just kill themselves. I'm going to dump bleach on my head and stick my tongue in a light socket. I'll be the Flash.
Don't even put that out there. Don't even put that out there. So
take a bath with a toaster.
I mean, it's very reminiscent of like Tatiana Maslany in Orphan Black, where she plays different versions of herself, and they're very specific and they're very individualistic.
Yeah, well, those are very, very different. The thing that I thought was really excellent about his performance in this was like we said, it was different, but it was also very similar. There, you could see sort of young. Let's just call him younger Barry. Mm-hmm. Younger Barry had sort of the quirks and mannerisms that older Barry had, but older Barry's quirks and mannerisms were clearly more like stress related and the result of a harder life.
Sure.
Whereas younger Barry's quirks were more like youthful enthusiasm. And there's sort of like, it's like two sides of the same coin. It was really well done how he handled that, because he didn't push it too far
in either
one
direction.
way or the other.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like, I'm brooding Barry, and the other one was like, I'm happy Barry.
Right.
He was like, they were close.
Yeah, they definitely walked that line.
You could see that these were two guys who had very different lives.
Yes. Yeah, I was super impressed with the performance. I thought it was really, really well handled. I thought the script was solid. I thought all the other extra characters were really well done and fleshed out. Even the ones that you don't see very much, like Barry's dad or Barry's mom, or just the other characters that show up. Again, I'm really surprised that this didn't do better. I don't think that it's a bad movie. I mean, I don't think it's the best thing I've ever seen, but I don't think it's
a good movie.
Yeah, and I think it's entertaining, and in spite of it being as long as it is, it still held my interest. I never looked at my phone. I never felt like I was falling asleep.
And you had just eaten dinner.
And I had just eaten dinner, exactly. So, I mean, that was...
Dinner and the couch usually means sleep.
Sleep, exactly.
But
and I think, and I was dragging my feet before we were watching this, wasn't I?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I feel like this could have been the perfect storm for me to just check out, but I didn't. I was really invested in the story and the characters. And again, just, it's kind of sad that this didn't do better. I'm sure the production and whatnot still got paid, but in the long term, I guess, it hurts because these actors and these cast, the additional cast and crew isn't going to get that second part only because this didn't do well. So it's kind of like a vicious circle, right? You want it to do well, but it didn't. So what now? So that's why I asked you, do you think that this will get kind of like a second life in streaming and
maybe
video sales?
I really don't know, because like I said, the whole...
It's hard to predict, yeah.
And just for some reason, people are really getting bent out of shape about these movies, because it's just like, well, none of this is going to matter. James Gunn is going to rewrite everything. And it's sort of like, who cares, man?
Right.
It's just because something doesn't fit neatly into this
box,
this sort of like trail of movies. Their cinematic universe is a hodgepodge right now. It's completely messed up.
Sure.
But there's still some entertaining things in there. I mean, okay, maybe they'll never use Gal Gadot again for Wonder Woman. I don't know. First Wonder Woman was still a good movie.
It's fantastic.
Maybe you'll never see Shazam again. Shazam was still a great movie, completely standalone.
Yeah.
Like, just watch it, just enjoy it. It doesn't have to. It doesn't bother people with all the Batman stuff.
No.
It's just like,
and there's been
are
a
you
ton of
mad
mediocre
that
Batman.
Are you mad that Henry Cavill didn't help Christian Bale fight Bane or anything? No, you don't give a shit about any of that stuff.
So, not to get off on a tangent, but there's been many iterations of Superman.
Yeah.
And none of them have really grabbed me. What do you think?
Wow.
What do you think? What?
The whole story of or the whole conversation about what is wrong, why is Superman not an interesting character? That is a huge debate. You get
episode to itself.
You get some heated nerd fights about that.
But let's be clear, he's really not an interesting character. He is kind of omnipotent, so he doesn't...
That's honestly, I agree with you there. That's the point. Superman, he's just too damn powerful to the point where, honestly, every problem of his could be solved by him just going into the upper atmosphere, listening for the bad guy, and then just
annihilate
burning him from orbit with his death eyes or whatever.
So, question, I mean, and it's funny because my favorite quote-unquote Superman story is actually Brightburn, which James Gunn, I think, produced.
I believe, yeah.
So, which is a great movie because the premise of that is, what if Superman was bad? And they do a great job with that
or
film.
just if Superman was a little kid who let's be honest,
Was psychotic.
little kids can be jerks, and we should all thank God that there is no little child with omnipotent powers.
Sure.
I mean, this is not a new story.
No.
This is look at the old Twilight Zone.
Sure.
You're doing real good, Johnny.
Yeah.
You did
That
real good.
episode was nuts. Yeah.
Okay, little kids, if they were given complete ultimate
Absolute
power,
power,
even
yeah.
if they have great parents, they still will probably be like, you know what? I don't like that, and I don't have to like it. So you're just going to do things my way from now on.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah? Well, what are you going to do about it? I'm going
Incinerate
to
you.
explode you like a water balloon. That's what I'm going to do about it. That's what a little kid would do.
Let's rein it in and wrap it up. Tell me your thoughts on this film.
I thought this was a good film. I mean, I never thought I would care for a Flash movie, but this was really good. Ezra Miller's performance was good. He did a great job pulling like double, maybe more duty
Triple,
in this movie. He portrayed the characters similarly, but different enough where, to me, that seems like that would be a bit of a
hard sell,
thing to do.
Yeah, he does it.
Everybody else was good. It was nice seeing Michael Keaton's version of Batman, or a version of it. They weaved it into the whole story of Man of Steel with Zod coming back. I understand Michael Shannon was just like, what the hell am I doing back in this?
Aren't I dead?
Yeah. he was there.
He's always fun.
The fact I liked how the story, like the resolution of the story came about.
Yes.
And it worked. And then at the end, I'm not going to spoil anything by saying, yeah, there is a happy ending here. But you still have like the little things going on that you're just like, they could have fun with that in the future.
Sure.
You know what? Maybe I had gone into this with such low expectations that I was super happy with this film.
Yeah. I, too, was super happy and agree with everything you said. I think, again, my only complaint was the substandard CG that accompanied the film, especially in those climactic moments. But other than that, yeah, I think the story was solid. The performances were all good. It was, I was really, really impressed with the script. And again, like we say, if you don't have a good script, you don't have a good story. And I think that this script, it was good. It was solid. There were some funny bits. We laughed. There were points where we laughed. There were points where I felt a little sad. I didn't cry, but there were points where I was just like, oh. Yeah, I think everyone did a great job. I think it all came together well. I think the costuming, the set designs, the art direction, the music. There was a ton of music in this, but it didn't piss me off. And listen, if you can, definitely. I think I would recommend this film. Definitely check it out.
I would absolutely recommend it, yeah.
Yeah, definitely check it out. There probably won't be a second part to this.
Yeah, I don't
see that
considering
happening.
the whole ordeal with the actor and the whole shakeup with the studio and the direction that Gunn is going in. I don't know what.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he does with Superman, because I feel like I don't think that there's ever been a really interesting Superman. I mean, I think, and also just the story. I mean, everybody knows who Batman is, whether you live in the Amazon jungle or on the Arctic. I think everybody knows Batman, right? So, and then there's a complexity to that character and an interestingness to it. I mean, I loved the Chris Reeves Superman movies, but that was just part of my childhood, and I associate that more with just time spent with my family and stuff. So there's a different connotation there. But
I mean, there are good Superman stories, and
they've never been on film.
Comics, but I've never really seen them in a movie.
Yeah. I mean, I liked that Smallville show. We used to watch that a lot.
Yeah, but that really, I mean, he was basically just a guy in a flannel shirt.
Yeah.
He wasn't really Superman yet.
Yeah.
And by the time they were like, oh, well, now he's going to become Superman, I was like, we had stopped watching that show for years.
Yeah. But it was still fun. It was an interesting premise to see who Clark was in the beginning. But anyway, 1 to 10, what are you going to give this film?
7.5.
7.5. I too would give it a 7.5. Or should I go 8?
If If you go
No,
8,
7
if you go 8, I'll go 8. But
No,
I think
7.5. 7.5
yeah.
is good. I think from where it starts to where it ends, it's quite an interesting film. It's a good superhero movie. I don't think you'll be bored.
You won't. No, you won't be bored. You'll be happy. Stop being upset that this isn't going to connect with the rest of the thing.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
It's an entertaining superhero story.
This isn't supposed to cure cancer or do any of that stuff. So just it is what it is. It's a superhero story. Again, pay your goddamn writers.
Yes.
Pay your writers. We can't have stuff like this if you don't pay your writers. I would think whoever wrote this, I should look on my IMDb, but I'm too lazy to right now. But
you did a good job.
You did a great job. I mean, there were so many strikes against this property, and I think that the story really held up well, and it carried through, and all the elements came together nicely. And it's kind of a shame that this didn't do better. So yeah, 7.5, 7.5. I think it's still playing in certain select theaters. Go check it out. 2023's The Flash. There was one curse word in it. He drops an F-bomb towards the end.
Oh, really? I totally.
Yeah, I was like, ooh, wait a minute.
Spicy language.
Spicy language. But, it's funny because it's PG-13, but Guardians 2, there was one F-bomb.
I think you're allowed one in a PG-13 movie.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
I would think you wouldn't be allowed any.
Times are changing. You used to not be allowed to see butt cheeks on TV. Now they're all over the place.
That's true. And not just on HBO.
And not just on HBO. NYPD Blue.
Yeah, remember?
First
back in the day.
Okay,
so that's it from us. 7.5, 7.5. Definitely. If you like comics, I think you'd like this. Don't be a bitch. Just go see it.
Perfect.
Seriously.
Perfect. Just ended there.
All right. That's it from us, and we will bid you all a
good night.
good night.